Hello again, back with another part of the series here. Hope you've been enjoying it so far. I've been really enjoying making videos again. So if you've not watched the other videos, I was gone for 2 years and I'm going over all the records I happen to get over the past 2 years that I've been gone. And I've been doing it in increments of 6 or 7, depending on the video. Just mainly so it's not one long uncut video. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. The first one I wanted to showcase is one that I don't think I've talked about this band at all on my channel, but I happened to notice it out of the corner of my eye when I was at my favorite record store at the time. It's still my favorite record store, but at the time that I bought this, I noticed out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, oh my gosh, they hadn't even put a price tag on this yet. And I'm like, I had to ask. I had to take my shot and ask for this, and I'm glad I have it. This is Jack's Mannequin's The Glass Passenger. Now, this is the Music on Vinyl pressing. Music on Vinyl is a label that I really, really like. They do a really good job at, pressing records. Sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're really good. This is really good. This is silver. And I don't often take it out of the sleeve, mainly because Music's on Vinyl sleeves are, you don't want to open it too often, but for this, I'll go ahead and open it and show you what the gatefold is. But this is a classic album for me. I'm just so glad to finally have this, you know. The big song on here, what would I even say is the big song on here? Swim would probably be the biggest song off of this album, if you're unfamiliar. Andrew McMahon was also part of Something Corporate, and he also has Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, and I have actually seen Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, and that's how I really got into this music here. And even then, look, see? That's one thing I don't like about Music on Vinyl, is their sleeves are kind of finicky. But I'm glad to show this off in the video here. Glad to finally have this one on vinyl. If you didn't see in the last video, I am going to be putting basically a playlist for some of the songs that I'm going to be featuring in each episode down in the description. So if you want to check out some of Jack's Mannequin, go ahead and look in the description. There's going to be a Spotify playlist down there. Yeah, okay. So this next one is really interesting. The year this came out was also the year that the Ali and AJ came out, that I showed quite a while back on my channel. But that year there were 4 albums that had made my top of the year, and this was kind of close to that, but what I had said that year was that every single album that had come out that was on my top 10 list would be an album of the year on a low year for me musically. So it was one of the best years of music that I've heard in a very, very long time, probably in my life. But this is one that I am so glad to have in the collection. It's Myles Kennedy, The Ides of March. Now, this was lower on my top 10 list. It is a gatefold. I will show that off here in a moment. But I am so glad to, this is actually a Best Buy exclusive, so glad to have this. And this is another one with an etching on it. Now, I'm kind of iffy on etchings because sometimes they can cause bowl warps. But lately, some of the ones that I've found, they have been putting labels on them. And I'm very glad for that. Let me make sure. I don't know how well you can even, there we go. It just says Myles Kennedy on there. The Ides of March. But I love the color of this album. This is one of my favorite colors. And it's just Myles at his best. Now, he is known for being with Slash, doing a bunch of music with Slash. He's also known for Alter Bridge. But people, I think, not necessarily sleep on his solo work. But his solo work is just so good. And okay, so he did this in memory of Jimmy Webb and Eddie Van Halen. But one really cool thing about this is it came with, if I can even get out of here, it came with a nice art print, and it was signed. That, it wasn't the signed, the thing that won me over, but it it sold me on it, but I had already wanted the album anyway. And it's just even a really nice jacket as well. The big song for me on there was the title track, Ides of March. That made my best of the year for that year, but there are just some, they're really just gems on this album. You should definitely check this one out. But again, I'll have a couple of songs from this album on the playlist down in the description. Just gonna keep things rolling along here. So another one that should have been in my collection for quite some time. I like this band. I don't like everything by this band, but up to this point, I only had what they consider to be the worst album of theirs, which I actually like it, Saint Anger. I like Saint Anger, okay? But I didn't have the Black Album by Metallica. So this is the Some Blacker Marbled Metal. This is the Walmart pressing, and it's just awesome. I don't think there's an art print in here. Let me just double check that real quick. Oh yeah, there is an art print here. So I'll take it out and show you the goods here. It does have an art print, and I do want to show the actual color of the vinyl, because you can actually see. I'm filming in light for once, so you can actually see the nice color behind it. I don't care what the color of the vinyl is. Just make sure it sounds great. That's all I ever ask for. This is really good. This mix is absolutely fantastic. I'm really happy to have that. And what can be said about this album that's not already been said over and over and over again? A lot of people know that album. It's a well-known album, and it's really good. So, one of my favorite bands is My Chemical Romance. I have almost all their discography. Some of that stuff is really hard to find, but I really only need 2 more albums for their mainline discography. I have the live album for Black Parade. I have the live era for 3 Cheers for Sweet Romance. I don't have that one. I don't have their debut, but I finally have Danger Days. Danger Days is underrated for me with their albums. Now, I do have the gatefold. It's recreating the original. Underrated album in their era, in my opinion. And it did come with a nice art print, and it did come on a really nice colored wax. Just give me a moment here. Actually, I'll fix that later. It did come on a really nice dark colored wax there. This one is underrated in their discography, in my opinion. Danger Days is, when it came out, there was a lot of, not necessarily discourse, but there was a lot of some of it was great, some of it was not. This was the era I actually got to see them. I got to see them just before they took their big hiatus. They're semi-back now. I know they came out with 1 single and they've been touring semi-recently as of this video, but I'm not holding out complete hope that there's going to be a new album or anything, but I got to see them in their prime, which I'm very happy about. I got to see them with Blink-182, with the original lineup of Blink-182 back before there was a mini split. And now that they're back, it's interesting to see things, come full circle. But glad to have that. I'm going to keep things rolling. Some of these videos are going to be longer, some of these are going to be shorter. Oh yeah, this one. So, Stone Temple Pilots. I've talked about them a little bit before. I'm slowly getting into their full discography. I have Core. Core is one of my favorite albums of all time. But I'm slowly getting more and more into their other discography, especially as I learn more and more about the band and everything. And they're just as classic to me as all the other grunge contemporaries and all that era. But this next one is this one right here. I believe this is, I am blanking, this is Purple, I believe. I'm glad it's on this really nice splatter blue vinyl. And love that back cover, and it did come with a nice lyric sheet too. I would say, what are the big songs on here? I am blanking today because I'm filming a whole bunch. Vaseline and Interstate Love Song would probably be the big ones off of this one. Glad to finally have that in the collection. And also, I just like the color on that one. Like I said, I'm not big on colored vinyl, even though I have it. But sometimes colored vinyl is the only way I can go about getting things. I'm ending on one that I talked about in a previous video just because I want to expand on some comments that I had. The last two, well, really, it's the last one, but I have two copies, and that is Scott Pilgrim versus the World of the Game. Now, this copy right here is the Limited Run Games copy, and this one right here is a reissue of the Record Store Day release. Now, I had originally pre-ordered this copy here from Limited Run Games, along with the Switch port. I forget, it's been so long, but when they announced that it was coming back, I jumped on the pre-order. This particular album right here took almost 2 years to come out. I'm no longer mad at it, but it took so long that this had become a grail for me. Like I said, it was a grail in the video. But it basically, it left a sour taste in my mouth because of how long it took in communication. I'm not going to go into that whole spiel. It's been already long enough. Other people have talked about it, but it took a very long time to get this. But I decided, because basically I thought this was never going to happen, that I spent extra money and got a secondary copy. But now I have two copies. Now, what's really nice about this copy right here is there is a bonus disc. Have not had a chance to listen to even that, mainly because it took so dang long to finally get it that I was like, I'm still just now recovering overall from it because it just took so long that it's been long enough that I'm not mad at it really anymore, but it really was a souring taste in the mouth for what happened. That's all I got for this one. Thank you so much for checking it out. Let me know down in the comments below what you've been listening to. I'd love to hear what you've been listening to. I'm always for music discovery. As I say at the end of everything I'm in, when the waters get rough, keep on sailing. Thank you so much for, again, thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye out for the next one. We're just going to keep this rolling. We're almost done going through all of these, which is kind of crazy. But I'll be back with 6 more records here probably next week or whenever I drop the next one. Until next time, take care. Bye.